We ended the last section with a brief discussion of the importance of using simple selectors. In this section, we'll talk more about how to do this in practice, focusing especially on when to add new classes. Let's start by looking at these BioBox styles. You might notice that we're styling the BioBox link here. So, Lee, why haven't we given this a class instead in order to style it?
So up to this point, there's only been a single link inside those bio boxes. And like we mentioned in section 2.2, you want to think of your styling like Legos. So if things can be modular, if you know that there's only going to be one link inside of a bio box, then it's very simple to just use a style that is a class and then an element type inside of that. You don't need an extra class name to make things more specific. You can just leave it kind of generic like that. But if you get into a situation where the link that you have in the bio box is going to be used, or the way that it looks is going to be used in other parts of the site,
Mhm.
or if you're going to have multiple links in a bio box and one of them is different than others or multiple are different from others, that's the point where you need to start thinking about adding classes.
Okay. All right, let's look at some concrete examples. I'm going to start by replacing the content of the page with something that's a little bit more descriptive. I suggest just copying and pasting. So I'm actually going to copy and paste just the stuff inside the body. You're welcome to copy the whole thing, but it's instructive to change the CSS by hand here. So this is this here. There we go. And you can take a look at what that looks like. And we're going to clean up the CSS. If you look here, I've removed the ID on the div. So this exec bio is gone. We can get rid of it. And we're also not going to have this alert. This is just an example. So all this stuff is stuff that we don't need at this point. And there we go. We just kind of pared it down. And this probably won't change the appearance. Just the width, right.
Right.
So at this point, we're just going to let it fill the full width. All right, so where are we going with this now, Lee?
So you'll notice that we have multiple links in each bio box. And we also
Here,
have a Twitter link. If we look at the HTML,
right,
right below
there's
the
a
names,
link here.
there is a Twitter link.
Right.
And we want those social links to look different, or we will want those social links to look different.
Okay.
Further in the tutorial, they're going to look very different. They're going to be a little graphical. But right now, what we're going to do is at least change the color of them and
Okay.
just find a different way to target them. Let's say in this case that we want to have these Twitter links be blue and the other links that are in the text in the bio boxes all stay green.
Hmm.
Now, one way that we can do that is we can target the links inside the bio boxes that are inside of paragraphs and make a more complicated style declaration.
Right, like this.
Right.
So,
And change that to color green and then change the original one that we did to blue.
well, okay, so if we do this, let's do
Oh,
this here.
hey, I was doing something.
Okay, yeah.
So if we do this
Right.
and then save that and refresh,
Got it. Right. Okay, so why is this not as good as an alternative that involves adding a new class?
so the problem is that we're now styling links generically in two different ways, and we're not really addressing what they're being used for.
Hmm.
And the other thing is that we're getting dangerously close to reaching the limits of selector depth. This is a stylistic thing and a subjective thing, but the idea is that you don't want to extend beyond three things in a selector. So in this case, we have BioBox, the class, we have P, the paragraph, and then A for the link. And if there were some reason, if there was something inside of that link, like an image or a span, and we had to target that, that would be a fourth selector, and that's going a little bit too far. The reason why you don't want to do this is that, contrary to how you think that this might work, CSS is actually applied from right to left.
Hmm.
So if you have a set of selectors that is really, really long, what happens is it first applies that style to every single A. And then it looks through the page and finds every A within a P. And then it finds every A within a P within a bio box. So the more that you do that, the more your browser turns in trying to apply these styles.
Hmm.
And on a complicated site, that can actually add a significant amount of page load time, which you want to avoid. So when you start hitting that selector depth thing, you should start thinking about using another class. So
Okay.
in our case here, one thing that we could do is we can add a new class to these Twitter links that are
Right. So we
colored
can,
blue.
yeah. So we can do this. This is our original, and then what we want to do is add an extra rule for just the Twitter links, which means we should add a class. Do you prefer to add the class first, or do you like to add the rule first?
I like to add the class first.
Okay, that seems like it makes sense. So let's call them social links. Is that
Yep,
a good?
social dash link.
So social link is good, and we'll just add it to all of them. So this here and this, and then let's add. So it's their bio boxes.
Just try adding social link first.
Oh, it's just social link. Okay, see what happens there. And so are we doing social link without the A, right?
Just to see that first.
Okay, so you want to do the color blue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see if this works. All right, that did not work, as far as
Right.
I can
And
tell.
the reason that that didn't work is, not to harp on this too much, but BioBox A has a higher specificity. So you
Right.
can see that even though we've directly classed these links,
Yeah.
that higher specificity styling overrides it. So one way that we could get rid of that is by adding A at the beginning of social link. So
Okay.
now this will target all links that have the class social link, and it'll make them blue.
Right. So there we go. Look at that.
Right. So you might be asking, like, why not just do that? It's a social link. Who cares about it, right? But it's kind of a poor choice, and this is going to sound a little weird, but there are many times where you are actually going to want to apply a class that applies to links to things that are not links.
Ah.
One case for or usage of this is in something like a menu, where sometimes you'll have menu items that are not links because you don't want them to be clickable, but you want them to have the style of a link because it functionally is. It's just a non it's a disabled one is a better way to put it.
Right. So like on a navigation menu, often there's a link for the current page, but you don't want it to actually be a link. You just want it to look like a link.
Right, right. Exactly. And we could get around this by removing that A and adding back in BioBox PA
Right.
to make the green. Oh no, not. We could add BioBox
Oh, I
PA.
see. There.
So
Ah, right.
now
I
we've made the
understand.
body copy links green by getting them more specific.
Right.
But you can see here that we're starting to bump up against that limit again.
Yeah.
And like I was saying before, if you added in an image inside of the links and then wanted to style that, you'd be at 4, and
Right.
that's not such a good thing.
Yeah.
So one way around this is we can get more specific, and we can add another class.
Okay.
So what we could do is we could add a class directly on the P's, but then the problem becomes, what happens if you have multiple P's? You're going to have to add that class over and over again. So just to
Right.
show
Right.
you,
You basically have to add it to all of these. If you had a class here, right, but
right.
then
And
if you
now
had
if in
another
the same section
paragraph,
you have another
right,
paragraph, you have
yeah,
to, so to keep the
that's a
same
pain.
styling across that's not so good.
Yeah.
So an easier way to deal with this would be to add a new wrapper around the part that is the copy the
Right.
the text of the biography,
Right.
and add a new div that just contains all of it. And then within that, we can target the P's separately, we can target the A's, and then that'll be our touch point, that class. So
Okay.
if we wrap it all in a div with the class of bio copy,
Yeah. So we're going to get rid of this P. Is that right?
correct. We're just going to get rid of the whole thing, but
Okay. But yeah, for now. So we're going to do a div. Actually, there's a shortcut for this. What's the class going to be? It's going to be bio
mhm,
copy.
bio dash copy, correct.
Yeah, there we go. Like that. And then I'm going to indent this here.
Proper indenting is very important.
Yeah. By the way, I usually care a lot about the 80 column width, but not for HTML because it's just impossible in general teams.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can copy this. I just have word wrap on usually. So is this? Yeah, this is just the copy.
hmm
So do this here, and we can see from the indentation that we need a closing div here. There are other ways to do this, but I just want to do it by hand. Like this. Okay. And all right, so now we've added these classes, but it hasn't done anything yet. So what do we want to do in terms of
So
targeting them?
let's change bio box A to bio copy A.
Ah, right. Right. So now this is targeting the links like inside. I guess it's just my bio that has links inside it. It's targeting these links here
Right.
because they're inside this div.
Exactly.
And then the social links will still be blue.
Without needing to add in the A attached to the class name to get that higher specificity.
Okay.
So
So let's take
now
a look at that.
it'll look like how we had it,
Yeah.
but things are more modular now, and we can treat what's going on within the bio copy in a totally different way.
Right. All right. This looks like it's working. There's just one more thing that is a good idea to add. You'll notice that each of these belongs logically in one or another category. So, for example, this top one here is really a global style rule that applies to the entire page. And it would be nice to be able to indicate that. So, a good practice is to add in a comment. So, this is a CSS comment, not an HTML comment. And the CSS comments you can insert like this. It's a slash asterisk and then the comment, and then you close it with the same thing. And so let's call this global styles. Do you usually like to use all caps for this, Lee?
I do, just to make it a little bit more apparent. And
Yeah.
then the other thing that we should do here is move the social link style up underneath the global style. So the way that I usually like to format this is
Yeah.
that the global stuff goes first, and then
hmm
things that are more specific, so things that have classes,
Right.
um, go after that. But these are all things that can be found anywhere on the site potentially. And then last will be modules. So the bio
Right.
boxes and the styles for that would go after that.
Okay. So these are bio styles. Now, do you care about new lines, or do you prefer to have them or not have them? Does it really
I like
matter?
having them just to break up the visual flow,
Yeah.
especially as the style sheet gets longer and longer.
Great. So even with this small number of rules, it's really nice to have this separation where we see that these are global styles, styles specific to these social links, and then styles specific to the bio boxes and the bio copy. So we can see even just with a small number of rules, it actually does make a lot of sense to organize them this way. Just do one more refresh and make sure it's working. Looks great. Now that we've reached a natural stopping place, this is a good time to make a Git commit and publish our results to GitHub Pages. The tutorial mainly leaves you on your own at this point because we're assuming that you have a background now in things like Git and HTML and GitHub Pages and so on. So the text actually doesn't talk about every single time you should make a commit and so on. But as we're doing these videos, we do want to show you the way we would really do things, and this is a natural stopping place. So this is the point where I would definitely make a commit and push it up just to see what it looks like. Good. So what do we do here? We added extra content and organized our styles. That's
Hmm.
that's a good commit message. That's good enough. Take a look. Sometimes it takes just a second. We're on the right branch here. It's on the master branch. Oh, and there we go. So sometimes it takes a couple minutes for GitHub Pages to um, rebuild things, and in this case, probably clearing some cache somewhere. Like we said, cache invalidation is a hard problem. But here we go. So now on the live web, we've got our website. Should look just the same.